My new director promoted my junior behind my back, and now they are funneling our budget to a ghost company. I am a 51-year-old woman and have been the head of procurement at a mid-sized logistics firm for 9 years. I built this department from the ground up. I know every vendor, every contract, and every loophole in our supply chain. For the last 3 years, I've been mentoring Chloe. She's 26, sharp as a tack, and I honestly treated her like a daughter. I trained her on everything, advocated for her bonuses, and essentially set her up to take over my role whenever I eventually retired. 3 months ago, our old VP left and the company brought in Mark. Mark is in his early 40s, wears those expensive quilted vests, and speaks entirely in corporate buzzwords. Synergy, agile frameworks, pivoting the paradigm, total bullshit. I didn't like him from day one, but I figured I'd just keep my head down and do my job. Last week, I took my first vacation in 2 years, 5 days in Mexico. I came back on Monday, walked into the office, and noticed that Chloe wasn't at her desk outside my office. Instead, I found her sitting in the glass-walled corner office down the hall, the one reserved for senior management. I dropped my bags at my desk and marched straight to Mark's office. "Where is Chloe's desk?" I asked, trying to keep my voice level. Mark didn't even look up from his monitors. "Oh, hey. Hope Cabo was great. We did a little restructuring while you were out. Chloe is stepping into a co-head of procurement role." I just stared at him. "Co-head? Mark, she has 3 years of experience. I have 20. What does co-head even mean? We didn't discuss this." "We needed to be more agile," he said, finally looking at me with a condescending little smirk. "Chloe brings a fresh, dynamic perspective to our vendor onboarding. You'll handle legacy accounts, and she'll handle all new acquisitions. It's a lateral shift. Don't worry, your pay stays the same." I left his office shaking. I went straight to Chloe. She was sipping from one of those massive Stanley cups, looking totally unbothered. "Chloe, what the hell is going on?" I asked. She sighed and gave me an incredibly patronizing look. "Look, I know this is a shock. But Mark felt my skills were being bottlenecked. I'm just really excited to implement some modernized workflows." "Modernized workflows? I literally taught you how to use Excel, Chloe." "Things change," she said coldly. "I have a meeting, so I spent the rest of the week feeling like I was losing my mind. Half my team was suddenly reporting to her. I thought I was just being aged out. I thought this was just classic corporate sexism and ageism, pushing out the older woman for the shiny young replacement. But something else is happening, and I'm currently sitting at my kitchen table drinking wine, feeling physically sick about what I just found." Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since the promotion bullshit. I've barely spoken to Chloe. She and Mark are in closed-door meetings for hours every single day. Yesterday, Dave, one of the 2 junior analysts still reporting to me, came to my desk looking incredibly nervous. "Hey," he whispered, glancing over his shoulder. "Are we dropping the Reynolds account?" "No," I said, frowning. "Reynolds is our primary supplier for packing materials. We've used them for a decade." "Why?" Dave pulled up a spreadsheet on his laptop. "Chloe just rejected the Q3 Reynolds invoice. She routed all the new material orders to a company called Apex Solutions. The rates are crazy. They're charging almost triple what Reynolds does for corrugated board." I felt my stomach drop. "Print that out for me. Right now." I took the printout and walked right into Chloe's new office without knocking. She jumped, slamming her laptop shut. "You need to knock," she snapped. "What the fuck is Apex Solutions?" I slapped the paper on her desk. "You canceled the Reynolds order to go with an unvetted vendor charging triple the rate? Who approved this?" "Mark approved it," she said, her voice rising an octave. She looked genuinely panicked for a second before putting her arrogant mask back on. "Apex offers premium expedited processing. It's an executive decision. We don't need premium processing for cardboard boxes, Chloe. We order them months in advance." "Stay in your lane," she actually had the nerve to say to me. "Legacy accounts are your problem. Apex is a new acquisition. It's none of your business." "It's my department's budget," I fired back. "You were bleeding our quarterly budget dry on one vendor." She stood up. "If you have a problem, take it to Mark." I didn't take it to Mark. I went back to my desk and started digging. I pulled up our internal accounting software. In the last 10 days, Chloe has authorized over $140,000 in payments to Apex Solutions. They are categorized under incredibly vague billing codes like consulting logistics and supply chain expediting. I can't even find a website for Apex. The billing address is a P.O. box in Delaware. I don't think they're sending us cardboard boxes at all. I think Mark and Chloe are stealing from the company. Update 2. Things have gone completely off the rails. I haven't slept in 2 days. On Tuesday, I decided to do some serious internet sleuthing. I requested the LLC formation documents for Apex Solutions through a public database. It took a while, but I finally got the name of the registered agent, Sarah Jenkins. I didn't recognize the name. I spent hours searching LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, but found nothing concrete. Then, I don't even know why, I searched Mark's Facebook. His profile is mostly private, but I could see his tagged photos. I scrolled back to 2014, to a photo of him and a woman at a beach. A relative had commented, "Happy anniversary Mark and Sarah." I dug deeper. Sarah's maiden name is Jenkins. Mark is funneling our procurement budget into a shell company owned by his wife. And Chloe is the one pushing the buttons to make it happen, probably getting a kickback or just blinded by the fake title and power they gave her. I was furious. Beyond furious. I printed everything, the LLC registration, the Facebook screenshots, and the Apex invoices. I put them in a manila folder. I was going to go straight to HR, but I wanted to see the look on Mark's face first. I know, it was stupid. I let my temper get the best of me. I waited until Chloe went to lunch, then I walked into Mark's office and locked the door behind me. He looked up, annoyed. "What are you doing?" I threw the folder onto his keyboard. Apex Solutions. Registered to Sarah Jenkins. Your wife. You're embezzling. The color completely drained from his face. For about 10 seconds, the room was dead silent. I could hear the hum of the air conditioner. Then, he leaned back in his chair, and his expression changed entirely. The corporate douchebag vanished, and he just looked cold. Dead behind the eyes. "You have absolutely no idea what you're interfering with," he said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "I'm interfering with fraud," I said, trying to keep my voice from shaking. "I'm going to the CEO." "You are not going to anyone," Mark said. He picked up the folder and dropped it into a shredder. "You are going to go back to your desk, you're going to handle your little legacy accounts, and you are going to forget the word Apex. You can't shred the digital footprint, you jackass," I said. "I have copies." "Listen to me very carefully," he said, standing up and leaning over the desk. "If you escalate this, you won't just lose your job. You'll lose your pension. We will find a reason to fire you with cause, and I will personally make sure you are blacklisted in this industry. Chloe is already prepared to file an HR grievance against you for creating a hostile work environment and workplace harassment. We have a paper trail of you being belligerent since you returned from your vacation. You're an aging, bitter woman who can't handle a younger subordinate outperforming her. Who do you think they'll believe?" I backed away from his desk. I literally couldn't speak. I turned around, unlocked the door, and walked out. I went home sick. I'm sitting here typing this because I am terrified. He's right about the paper trail. I have been confronting Chloe, and I have been yelling. They've been setting me up to look like an unhinged, jealous older woman so that if I blow the whistle, it just looks like retaliation. Update 3. Fuck it. I didn't care about his threats. I've given a decade of my life to this company. This morning, I bypassed my immediate management and went directly to Linda, the head of HR. Linda and I have known each other for years. We aren't close friends, but we've had drinks at company holiday parties. I trusted her to at least look at the evidence objectively. I sat in her office and pulled out my backup folder. I laid it all out, the invoices, the LLC registry, Sarah Jenkins, and the $140,000 drained in 2 weeks. I even told her about Mark's threat regarding the fake harassment complaint from Chloe. I expected Linda to gasp, or to immediately pick up the phone and call legal. Instead, Linda just stared at the documents. Her hands were shaking. She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Linda?" I asked. "Do you see this? It's textbook embezzlement." Linda slowly slid the documents back toward me. I can't accept this from you." "What do you mean you can't accept it?" "It's proof." "You need to drop this," Linda whispered. She sounded like she was crying. She looked genuinely terrified. "Please. Just put it away and go back to your desk. I didn't see this." "Linda, what the hell is wrong with you? He's stealing from the company." "It's not just Mark," she choked out, looking frantically at the blinds on her office window as if someone was watching us. "Just leave it alone. If you know what's good for you, pack up your desk and resign. Today." "I'm not resigning," I yelled, slamming my hand on her desk. "Then God help you," she said, turning her back to me and facing her computer. "Get out of my office." I left her office in a complete daze. My heart was hammering so hard I thought I was having a heart attack. If HR knows and is terrified, who else is in on it? How deep does this go? I walked back to my department to find Chloe at my desk. She was physically sitting in my chair, holding a cardboard box, while Dave stood nearby, staring at the floor. "What are you doing in my chair?" I demanded. Chloe smiled. It was the ugliest, most venomous smile I've ever seen. Security is on their way up, she said. You've been placed on immediate administrative leave pending an investigation into gross misconduct and insubordination. You little bitch, I hissed, lunging for my laptop. She snatched it away. Your access has already been revoked. Sure enough, both my monitors were black. The little green light on my company phone was dead. 2 security guards stepped off the elevator and started marching toward my cubicle. The entire floor was staring at me. I grabbed my purse and my coat. I didn't even fight it, I let them escort me out of the building. I held my head high while Chloe watched me leave with that smug fucking grin on her face. I got to my car in the parking garage and just broke down. I sobbed for 20 minutes. My career was ruined. They had won. But then, 5 minutes ago, my personal cell phone rang. I didn't recognize the number, but it was a local area code. I wiped my eyes and answered it. Hello? I croaked. Is this you? A deep voice asked. Who is this? It's Richard. My blood froze. Richard is the CEO and founder of the company. He works out of the corporate headquarters 3 states away, and I've only met him twice in 9 years. Yes, this is me, I stammered. Good, Richard said. His voice was completely calm, but it had an edge to it that made the hairs on my arms stand up. I'm looking at an email from an anonymous Proton Mail account containing a very interesting manila folder. I'm flying in. I land in 2 hours. Don't go home. Meet me at the diner across from the regional office. Tell no one. And then he hung up. I'm sitting in my car across from the diner right now. It's pouring rain. I am shaking so badly I can barely type this on my phone. I don't know if Richard is calling me in to fire me personally, if he's the one behind Apex, or if he's about to rain absolute hellfire on Mark and Chloe. I see a black town car pulling up to the diner now. I have to go. Wish me luck. Update 4. I walked into the diner, dripping wet and shivering. It smelled like bleach and cheap frying oil. I spotted Richard immediately in a back booth. He was wearing a sharp charcoal suit, looking completely out of place, and staring at a tablet. He didn't smile when I approached. Sit down, he said, not looking up. Want coffee? No, I said, sliding into the vinyl booth. My teeth were literally chattering. Richard, I need to know right now if I'm being set up. He finally looked at me. I don't set people up. I fire them. But I'm not firing you. Look at this. He turned the tablet around and pushed it across the table. It was an email inbox. The sender was a string of random numbers at proton.me. The body was empty, but there were 6 image attachments. I clicked on the first one. It was a picture of my printed Apex LLC registry document. I didn't send this, I said, my heart pounding against my ribs. They confiscated my laptop at noon. My personal phone doesn't even have my work email on it. Then who sent it? Richard asked, leaning forward, his voice dead serious. I looked closer at the photo. In the bottom corner, caught in the glare of the glossy photo paper, was a reflection of a phone case, bright, metallic pink with a stupid little rhinestone pop socket. I felt all the breath leave my lungs. Linda. The head of HR. I slammed these papers on her desk this morning. She told me I was crazy and kicked me out. She must have snapped the photos while I was yelling at her. Richard let out a harsh, bitter laugh. Well, Linda is the only smart person in that building right now. Because if she had escalated this through official HR channels, Greg would have buried it, and you'd both be looking at fabricated embezzlement charges by Monday. Greg? I stared at him. The CFO? Mark didn't hire himself, Richard said, taking a sip of his water. Greg pushed the board for Mark's hiring. Greg signs off on procurement budgets exceeding 50 grand. Your little co-head. Chloe, I muttered, feeling violently ill. Right. Chloe. She rubber stamps the invoices so Mark doesn't have his signature on the direct requests. Greg blind approves them from the top. They've siphoned nearly $500,000 across 3 regional branches using variations of this Apex shell company. You just found the sloppy one. I sat back in the booth. The diner felt like it was spinning. Chloe is 26. I trained her. I brought her to my house for Thanksgiving last year. Why would she do this? Maybe she's getting a cut. Maybe she's just a useful idiot blinded by a fake title, Richard said coldly. It doesn't matter. Here is what is going to happen. You are going to go home. You are going to stay off your phone, stay off email, and stay entirely silent. Let them think they won. Let them think you are terrified. What about my job? My pension? You are not fired. You're on paid administrative leave, he said, grabbing his tablet and sliding out of the booth. I'm meeting with outside forensic auditors at a hotel downtown in an hour. We need them comfortable enough to process the end-of-month vendor payouts on Friday. If they get spooked, they'll drain the LLCs and run. So I just do nothing? I asked, my voice cracking. You drink a glass of wine and watch a movie, Richard said. I'll call you. Update 5. It's Tuesday. I am typing this from my desk. Yes, my old desk. I spent the weekend pacing holes in my living room rug. I didn't hear a single word from Richard. By Monday morning, I was convinced I had hallucinated the entire diner meeting. I was actually looking up employment lawyers online when my phone vibrated. It was a text from Dave. Holy shit. There are actual police in the lobby. They just locked the elevators. I called Dave immediately. He answered on the first ring, whispering so quietly I could barely hear him. Dave, what is happening? They just walked Greg out in handcuffs, Dave breathed. Mark is screaming at Linda. Security is literally dragging him out by his arms. What the fuck did you do? My call waiting beeped. It was Richard. Drive to the office, Richard said when I clicked over. We have a mess to clean up. I broke every speed limit getting there. When I walked onto my floor, it was dead silent. Nobody was talking. Dave was sitting in his cubicle, pale as a ghost. I walked straight to the glass-walled co-head office. Chloe was sitting in my old chair. But she wasn't sipping from her Stanley cup, and she wasn't smirking. She was sobbing hysterically, her mascara completely smeared down her cheeks. 2 corporate lawyers in gray suits were standing right outside the door, talking in low voices. I walked past them and stepped into the office. Chloe looked up, and the second she saw me, she practically threw herself across the desk. I didn't know. She wailed, grabbing my wrist. I swear to God, I thought it was a legitimate vendor. Mark told me it was an executive directive. I yanked my arm away. You authorized triple rates for cardboard, Chloe. You routed our entire legacy budget to a P.O. box in Delaware. He promised me a VP title by next year. She choked out, crying so hard she was hyperventilating. He said you were stuck in the past and creating bottlenecks. I just wanted to advance. I didn't know his wife owned the company. You had security escort me out of the building, I said, my voice completely flat. You physically snatched my laptop out of my hands. I was following orders. She screamed. Please, you have to tell them. Tell them I'm a good worker. Tell them you mentored me. They're saying I'm going to federal prison. I looked at this girl. I thought about the hours I spent teaching her pivot tables, the times I fought HR to get her a higher starting salary, the time I bought her soup when she had the flu. I felt absolutely nothing but disgust. Get out of my chair, I said. She just stared at me, trembling. One of the lawyers stepped into the room. Ms. Chloe, we need you to pack your personal items now. You are terminated effective immediately. I didn't watch her pack. I turned around and walked to the break room. So that's it. Mark and Greg are facing federal embezzlement charges. Mark's wife is supposedly cooperating with investigators to save herself. Chloe isn't being criminally charged. Richard's lawyers decided she was genuinely just an incredibly greedy, naive pawn who didn't actually see a dime of the stolen money, but she is permanently blacklisted. I should feel vindicated. I should feel like a total badass who took down the corrupt executives. But I don't. I just feel incredibly, unbelievably tired. Half of our legitimate vendors canceled our contracts over the weekend because Chloe froze their accounts to funnel money to Apex. My department is gutted. Dave is having panic attacks. Linda got to keep her job, but she won't even look me in the eye when we pass in the hallway. I got my title back, but the department I spent 9 years building is completely broken. I have 40 unread emails from furious suppliers, and I'm just sitting here drinking lukewarm coffee, wondering if I even want to fix it. Hi there, if you made it so far. Consider dropping a like and maybe subscribing. Thanks. And have a nice one.